So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Kushina, so let's start the series, a stunned Kakashi said. Minato-sensei! You're alive! For nearly a minute, Minato simply gazed at him, attempting to ascertain his next move. After making the choice, Kakashi, there's no time for explanations. Where is the biggest threat to the village that you know of? Kakashi paused for a moment. With Orochimaru gone, I would have to say the biggest treat is Suna's Jinchuriki. Sasuke Uchiha went after him and I sent Naruto Uzuma dash, when Minato shouted. Take me there! Kakashi just glanced at him indifferently. Although the final Uchiha was significant, why would his sensei have become so upset about it? I said take me to him, now! Kakashi was taken aback because he had never witnessed his sensei acting in such a manner, particularly with someone he couldn't have known well. Kakashi called forth one of his dogs with a little caution, but was taken aback to discover that it was Pakin, the dog he had previously dispatched with Naruto. Yo! Exclaimed the ninja pug. What is that blonde kid? He just beat a Jinchuriki in its full form. Kid's incredible. A shocked Kakashi asked. Pakin, are you saying that Naruto and Sasuke beat Gaara? No, just Naruto. When we got there the Uchiha kid was out like a light. Naruto beat him by himself. The fight was over, so I dispelled and was almost instantly summoned here, stated Pakin as he looked at the individual to confirm his right. Hey Minato, what's up? Thought you died? Minato ordered. I'll explain later. Get me to Naruto, he is my only priority. Why does he care so much about Naruto? Kakashi's thought. I understand, muttered Pakin idly. Hey Minato, he wouldn't be. Yes, that's why I need to get to him now, understood, Pakin said. After 5 minutes, the clearing. Stay away from me! A terrified Gaara cried, immobile. As he crawled toward Gaara, a stoic Naruto said, It's almost unbearable, isn't it? The feeling of being all alone caused Gaara's eyes to widen. Naruto, who was crying, continued, I know that feeling, I've been there, in that dark and lonely place. But now there are other people that mean the world to me. I care more about them than I do myself and I won't let anyone hurt them. That's why I refuse to give up. I will stop you, even if I have to kill you. But why? Replied Gaara. Why would you do this for anyone but yourself? Because they were the ones that saved me from myself. They saved me from my loneliness. They were the only ones to accept me for who I am. They are my friends. One of Naruto's pals, Sasuke, said. Naruto, that's enough. The sand crumbled, Sakura is free, and this guy's chakra is all used up, it's over. That's a relief. Naruto grinned before fainting. When a fresh voice exclaimed, Naruto! Everyone turned to face one of the branches, where Kakashi, Pakin, and a man who bore a striking resemblance to the fourth Hokage were standing. The man couldn't bring himself to finish the sentence, so he leaped down and carried Naruto's motionless body in his arms. What happened? Is he? He asked. Sasuke pointed, but they had already left. Sir? The final Uchiha questioned. He just passed out, he was fighting that guy. The older blonde turned and began to walk toward the settlement, saying, Thank God. A bewildered Sasuke questioned, Kakashi-sensei, who is that guy? He looks exactly like Naruto, is that his dad? Kakashi realized that Naruto was the fourth Hokage's son. That man is Minato Namikaze, he said. But he was the fourth Hokage. He died 12 years ago, Sasuke said, his eyes widening. The statement, It will all be explained later, for now get Sakura and head back to the village," was followed by Kakashi's departure. Unknown location. Next day, when Naruto woke up, he saw a ceiling, but it wasn't his, nor was it the hospital's dull white ceiling. On a hurry, Naruto rushed from the big bed he was sleeping on. He was completely bewildered, thinking, "I'm not in the hospital," and asked, "Where am I?" After concluding that the location he was in was probably not a favorable one, he bounded out the door. He entered a lengthy corridor with stairs at its conclusion. He entered a really pleasant living room after descending the stairs. He noticed that the home was enormous, nearly as large as the Hokage estate. When he happened upon the kitchen, he saw a man eating while seated with his back to the door. Ramen? Naruto made an unsuccessful attempt to escape before being discovered. Or did he? In a warm and kind voice, the stranger said, "Finally awake, huh?" Naruto was immediately on guard because no stranger ever treated him well, and he was about to go when the man began to speak again. "Come and sit, I already made you some ramen. And I think it's time I finally met you," he said. Naruto, who had just woken up in someone else's house after being beaten to within an inch of his life, asked in shock, "Who are you? And where am I? The last thing I remember was Sasuke telling me the fight was over." "You're shaking, is something wrong?" I asked the stranger. "Are you alright?" When Naruto looked up, he saw that the man had turned around and was looking directly into his eyes. Naruto was in complete shock. "Why, you're the fourth Hokage! Oh God, I'm dead. I bet the villagers are happy though, the demon is finally gone," Naruto exclaimed, becoming more and more depressed with each statement he made. Minato was perplexed and replied, "What are you talking about? Why would the villagers be glad if you were dead?" He had intended for him to be a hero. Why would the town be happy if their hero passed away? "They all hate me. They think I'm the nine-tailed fox because you sealed it inside me." Naruto was about to cry. "At least it's over now, no more beatings, getting thrown out of stores, it's finally over. I just wish I could have said goodbye to everyone." Minato's expression was a mix of amazement, despair, and outright anger. How could this have happened? Naruto would be viewed as a hero, as Sarutobi had assured him. What was happening? "Naruto, you're not dead, you're in my home, our home. I choose you to hold the Kyuubi for one reason, you were the only one I knew could handle it. After all, you are my son." Naruto froze with a shocked expression on his face, and after a minute or so of not being able to move or even think, he passed out. He was swept into an embrace and taken back to his room before he could fall to the ground. 2 hours later. "How could you let that happen to him? What kind of sensei are you? Don't say anything, Kakashi. I'm going to go try and fix this fuck-up you've all made and save my son from any further pain. Keep an eye on him and maybe I won't kill you when I get back." Naruto woke up to the sounds of shouting. It was followed by the slamming of the door. This was only going to get worse because Naruto was in the house of the fourth Hokage, the most adored and despised person in the town, and he was terrified when he heard someone approaching the room he was in. In a desperate attempt to escape unharmed, Naruto ran toward the window. An astonished Kakashi questioned, "Naruto, what are you doing?" As Kakashi caught him by the shoulder and dragged him back into the room, the young blonde exclaimed, "I need to get out now. It's the only way they won't kill me for trespassing. Why won't you let leave? You want me dead like all the others, don't you?" That inquiry stunned Kakashi. Was this dejected youngster really Naruto? When he took off his emotional mask, was he like this? With a dejected expression on his face, Naruto just wriggled out of his hold and collapsed to the ground. His knees were in his chest as he sat on the floor. Then, in the coldest, most lifeless voice Kakashi had ever heard, Naruto inquired. His normally bright blue eyes appeared almost gray, and he was sitting with his back in a corner, and his knees in his chest, as if he was waiting for a killing blow to end his life. Naruto said, "Can you just kill me, Kakashi-sensei? I'm going to be killed for using Kyuubi's chakra when I fought Gaara and Neji anyway. It would be better if you did it. It probably won't hurt as much, and you'd probably get a medal or something." Was this truly Naruto? Kakashi only looked at his pupil in disbelief. What became to that energetic blonde who was constantly laughing and smiling? Was Naruto the genuine one? When Kakashi had had enough, he fled from the doorway into the bathroom and threw up. He was literally tired of seeing people he was so close to act that way. No human being deserved that. It made him think of how his father had behaved following his failed mission. "Oh God, no!" he exclaimed as he ran to Naruto's room and tackled him, barely avoiding cutting his wrist. "Don't you dare do that! You are Naruto Namikaze! You defeated Gaara and saved the village! You are not a monster! You are a hero!" Kakashi screamed as he grasped his arms. "Don't worry about the villagers, I'll protect you with my life! And so will your father! You're not alone anymore, Naruto, never again will you be alone." Both the positive memories, Team 7, the Ichiraka family, Kakashi, and his mission to Wave Country, as well as the recollections of his beatings, verbal abuse, and being ejected from stores were racing through Naruto's mind, leaving him unsure of what to believe. His body was unable to handle the stress, and Naruto began to convulse and lose consciousness as a result of the constant barrage of paradise and hell that was pouring into his mind. In a panic, Kakashi grabbed the boy and ran to the hospital. "Council chambers." "Okay, everyone," said a furious Minato. "You will answer my questions after I answer yours, understood?" The elderly warhawk himself was the first to speak, saying, "If it's okay with you, Lord Hokage, I have 2 questions." "Don't call me that yet, I still have to decide if this village is worth me leading," stated an icy Namikaze. "Well, now I have 3 questions. First, how are you alive? You died 12 years ago? And you don't look a day older than that fateful night?" replied Danzo. "When Orochimaru used Tobirama's resurrection jutsu, he somehow also got my soul removed from the death god's grasp, after Sarutobi sealed himself and the other 2 Hokages, along with Orochimaru's arms. The Shinigami told me that I was still active due to the fact the jutsu never truly ended. He said as long as I am noble and protect those that should be protected, he would let me live." As Danzo concluded his statement, he was overcome by an overwhelming sense of murderous intent. "Okay, now my second question, what do you plan to do with the demon container? He used the fox's power in his fight with the Hyuga and could be dangerous. I wish to take the boy and turn him into the weapon he was meant to be." With a chilly, deadly tone, Minato declared, "I will personally make sure that person begs for death if you or anyone else touches a hair on that boy's head." "If I may, Minato, why are you so defensive of that boy? Sure, he's a great kid that even my daughter is friends with, but the way you defend him, it's like dash." Inoichi wasn't able to continue his sentence. "I will defend him from you piles of shit because you all have caused enough trouble in his life. He's a hero, and from everything I've heard, you would treat an enemy ninja better than you would the hero of this pathetic village." Minato screamed and raged when the short, plump councilman finished saying, "Pathetic? You dare call this village pathetic? You're the Yellow Flash. Why defend a demon over your own village? Minato came up behind him and pierced his head with a Rasengan. Everyone was stunned. Another councilman cried, You just killed a councilman. I'll kill anyone who calls Naruto a demon, said Minato. This doesn't leave this room. Naruto was not an orphan, he is mine and Kushina's son. And if I hear of anyone in this room ever bad-mouthing my son again, I will not only kill you, but everyone you love. My son is a hero and will be treated as such. The fact that the demon brat was the offspring of Minato Namake's left everyone stunned. How could they have been so foolish? He resembled a miniature clone with facial hair. 3A and B were doing everything they could to stop Kakashi when he burst through the door, saying, Minato-sensei! Naruto is in the hospital, come quick! Before Kakashi puffed into a cloud of smoke. Everybody looked at Minato, but all they saw was a yellow flash. Hospital. What room is Naruto Uzumaki in? Minato blurred to the receptionist as she rushed through the hospital's doors. 216. Minato rushed to locate his son. Anticipating the worst, he rushed into the room when he heard tears coming from Kakashi and saw Naruto dozing in his hospital bed. Kakashi sobbed and asked, What kind of man am I? I couldn't even tell how scarred my own student was. What happened? He look okay. Close the door and take a seat, replied Kakashi. This isn't going to be easy. Minato was in hell. But nothing was worse than when Kakashi hinged into Naruto's appearance when he begged Kakashi to murder him, Kakashi recalled. What could have occurred to his son to have him act in such a way? Minato was appalled. Even though he had started a war on his own and killed thousands of soldiers, what Kakashi showed him was the most horrific thing he had ever witnessed. Minato said, Kakashi, we need to fix this. But how? We could try and get his friends in here to talk to him, but I think you should talk to him first. He still doesn't believe that he's your son, and he seems to think that the village is going to kill him for using the Kyuubi chakra. I will when he wakes up, but what about the other stuff? He thinks that all the villagers hate him, and I think he's right, stated a sorrowful Minato. Maybe it's time the truth comes out, sensei? Let everyone know he's your son, Kakashi thought. A flash bulb popped on in Minato's mind. What if we train him to be the next Hokage? Once he's ready, I can name him my successor? That way his lineage can be released and he won't be in trouble from IWA? That could work. But does Naruto still want to be Hokage? Replied Kakashi. At that moment, Naruto began to awaken. Thank God, the nightmare is over, Naruto exclaimed as he opened his eyes to find himself in the hospital. A fresh voice said, Bad dream, son? Naruto was initially taken aback when he turned to face the voice and saw the fourth Hokage, but his despair soon returned. Here to kill me already, huh? Oh well, at least I get to be killed by my hero, he said, returning to his ceiling gazing with the same lifeless eyes that Minato had seen Kakashi display. Naruto was embraced by the fourth Hokage before he realized what was occurring. Why would I want my own son dead? I just got to meet you. Naruto assumed it was some sort of genjutsu or something, but he remained silent and simply gazed at the wall. He attempted to dispel it, but it didn't work, so he tried again. This time, Minato Namake's was still clutching him. There's no way you are. You're the yellow flash of Konoha. I'm the demon that people can vent their rage on, and we can't be related, Naruto declared, tearing apart the hearts of Minato and Kakashi. But we are, my son, and I promise that no one will hurt you again, replied Minato. For some reason, Naruto merely sat there, feeling as though he belonged in his father's arms, in the embrace of the fourth Hokage. "Daddy, don't leave me again!" he cried. As he placed Naruto back and watched him fall asleep, Minato reassured him. "Never again, son, never again. Now get some rest. Tomorrow is the first day of our new life," Minato added, telling Naruto that tomorrow would be different. "Kakashi, I want you to track down all of Naruto's friends and tell them he will be available to have visitors tomorrow at 8 a.m. and throughout the day. I want to meet all of them face to face," said Minato. "And bring anyone else that you see an ally of my son. I want to know all of them by the end day tomorrow. In 2 days will be Sarutobi's memorial." Father and kid were left alone when Kakashi simply nodded and walked away. The following day, Naruto and Minato were still asleep in his hospital room the following day. When Minato woke up, it was 7:30. An ANBU hammering on the window's glass had woken him up, and he was being called to a council meeting. The ANBU departed after he informed them that the council could blow it out their ass. Minato awakened Naruto up at 7:55, and they became closer until Naruto's first visitor showed up. Naruto was shocked to learn that it was Ino. A startled Naruto questioned, "Ino? Are you trying to find Shikamaru? He's 3 rooms away." After a short silence, Ino said, "No, I'm going to meet Shika next." "Is that true?" Naruto stiffened, seeing no bright future for this. "Is what true?" "Is it true," Ino said, pausing briefly, "that you defeated that Gaara man?" "Yeah, I beat Gaara, but it was close, far too close." Naruto trailed off, feeling glad that everyone was aware of the fox. "Who informed you?" During his conversation with his father, he had deduced that Sakura had no interest in him. The fact that she didn't even check on him was evidence of that. It couldn't have been Sakura. She's too infatuated with Sasuke to even begin to believe it wasn't Sasuke that beat Gaara. After giving it some thought, Ino responded, "I heard Kakashi-sensei talking to Asuma-sensei about it," then he said, "Kakashi-sensei said that you took off your mask and that it would forever haunt him." Minato added, "Did Kakashi show Asuma?" Naruto became very depressed since he didn't want his sensei to be plagued by him. A bewildered Ino answered, "No, he said that he didn't wish that on anyone." "Could you show me, Naruto? It must be really awful if it was horrible enough to frighten a war hero like Kakashi-sensei." "Want to watch it?" "I understand if it's too much to handle, but be warned, you will never see me the same way," Ino said, nodding once more as Naruto turned to face him. After taking off the mask, Naruto glanced down and met Ino's eyes. Ino assumed it would be some terrible jutsu or that Naruto had a concealed scar, but the truth was far worse. Ino had begun to appreciate Naruto in the academy because of his vivid blue eyes, which she had been anticipating the entire time she had known him. She was terrified by what she witnessed. A tiny line was all that remained of the smile he always had. His head hung down and his shoulders drooped. His eyes, however, were the worst aspect of all. Naruto Uzumaki's once bright blue eyes had turned dark gray and were devoid of all passion and joy. Without life. How did anyone possibly know how to look like that? It was so awful that Ino felt like a piece of herself had been torn out. "And Naruto? Is that the mask that Kakashi-sensei was talking about?" "No, the other me is the mask, this is the real me," Naruto said, averting his gaze from her. But you've never looked like that before. Has everything been a lie? What happened? Believing that it no longer mattered. I've always put my friends before myself. If anyone saw this, then it would make them sad. I'd rather live a lie than let my friends get hurt. And I won't tell you what happened. I don't want to live through it again. Why didn't you ever tell anyone? I'm sure that the academy teachers dash. As he lay back down and looked away from the door, Naruto remarked. They were part of it, everyone was. I think you should go see Shikamaru. I'm sure he could use it. He continuing to stare at the wall. Taking the cue, Ino walked away. Naruto, what did happen? A sincere Minato inquired. Ever been beaten within an inch of your life? Minato asked, staring at his son in disbelief at the icy tone of his voice. I have, more times than I can count, Minato said. After an hour, he became enraged when Inoichi, another wild card, entered the room next. The head of the Yamanaka clan half demanded, half asked, What did you do to my daughter? She came home crying uncontrollably. She wouldn't tell me what it was, but she said she could never look at you again. Not even rolling over, Naruto said. She asked to see me without my mask, and I told her she didn't want to see it, but she didn't listen. Inoichi responded. I don't believe you, show me. Without the mask, Naruto rolled over and stared at a hole in his face. Inoichi felt his knees go cold and gasped. How? Get out of my room. 2 hours later. Sasuke? Naruto said. While it was improbable, it was quite unusual that his teammate would visit him. Hey Dobe, it wasn't said in hate like usual, but more in a respectful way, more in a brotherly way. What's up, team? You're the last person I expected. I just came to see if you were alive, and I have a couple questions for you. Ask away. How did you get so strong? You were the dead last in our class, and now you're the strongest of all of us. How? I wish I could tell you. I just push myself past my limits and fight for other people. I guess that's what does it. I would say you're full of crap, but after your fight with Gaara I can't bring myself to do it. My next question is, could you help me train? You want me to help you train? Naruto asked in surprise. Sasuke simply nodded. I guess I could. But it will be a while before I can help. I'm kinda bedridden. Sasuke made his way to the door, but paused just before saying, Thank you. And then he departed, saying, Don't take too long. I want to get stronger, and fast. Minato departed in a flash of yellow, saying, I'm sorry, Naruto, but I have something to take care of. I'll be back as soon as possible. Unknown place. So it's true you are back from the dead. I'm glad to see it, Lord Hokage, as am I. It has been far too long. Lord Hokage, what have I told you both about calling me that, Kisame? Itachi? A nameless councilman from the civilian side begged Minato to change his mind, saying, The village needs a strong Hokage. I must agree with him, said Hayashi Hyuga. I know you don't want to do too. But please at least think about doing it for those of us who tried to help him, or at least we're impartial. The civilian side had gone out of their way to make Naruto's life miserable, even though nearly every member of the shinobi side had attempted to assist him. Even Hayashi had supported him whenever he got into difficulties. If I agree, began Minato, it will be to my liking. I am going to take every bit of power you all took from Sarutobi back. You can regain it by following orders and doing your jobs, Shikaka Nara remarked idly. Agreed. I don't like having all this responsibility anyway, Chusa Akimichi remarked. I also accept, The Akimichi clan is behind you, my old friend. Although I dislike losing what I have gained, the Hyuga clan also accepts, said Haishir. Shibi Aburame merely gave a nod. The Inuzuka clan also accepts, though I do have a question for you later, if you don't mind, said Sim. Inoichi Yamanaka started to say, after what I saw yesterday, I am fully for the pulling of power from the council, anyone that. But he was unable to finish since the thought of Naruto without his mask made him feel ill. I completely understand Inoichi, said Minato. I accept I will become Hokage again, but I have much to take care of before I'm sworn in. First, in 1 week, my son is to leave with Jiraiya-sensei for as long as it takes to bring back their target. During that time I will settle any business that I must take care of. At the time they come back, I will take the title of Hokage. Any questions? What do you plan to do about the Chunin exams? Are we going to promote anyone? Replied Chusa. Both Shikamaru Naro and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze did win their match? And with their performance during the invasion, from what I've heard, Naruto along with the Toad boss Gamabunta defeated the Suna Jinchuriki. I will look over all reports of the invasion and the Chunin exams. If I find anyone who did in fact earn the rank of Chunin, I will promote them, said Minato. The most despised woman in the village, Kono Haruno, inquired. Will you take an apprentice? Most likely yes, but I will have to pick one, for my son is already an apprentice of Jiraiya, said Minato. Might I suggest Dash? No, replied Minato. I already have a good idea of who, if anyone, I will choose. For the first time, a curious Shikaku inquired. May we know who you are thinking about? Now where's the fun in that? Laughed Minato. Now unless there's anything else, I have to go get my son from the hospital for the funeral. You coming, Shikaku? Shikaku murmured troublesome, as he stood up and trailed Minato out the door. Hospital, room of Naruto. Naruto was waiting for his father to come sign him out so he could leave for home after changing into his street clothes. Few people had visited him while he was in the hospital. Iruka had just left. Kakashi had stayed as long as he could before his mission. Asuma had come to check on the kid after he had spoken to Kakashi. Might Guy had spent the majority of his visit yelling something about Naruto's flaming youth. Sasuke had returned for a second visit to keep Naruto company, and the most unexpected was Ino, who had stopped by during her lunch break and gave him a bouquet of good luck flowers before departing. What Naruto had not noticed, though, was the slight flush as she said goodbye. Speaking to his friend Sasuke, who was seated in the chair opposite from him, Naruto was perched on the edge of his bed. I'm surprised she didn't gush over you when she saw you. That and the fact she even came to see me, said Naruto. Me too, though I'm not going to complain. One less fangirl in my life is a blessing. Now if only I could get them all to turn to your side, laughed Sasuke. Naruto downtrodden remarked. What do you mean by turn to my side? Why would they be my fans? You're the last Uchiha, and everyone believes that you defeated Gaara. Sasuke, who was still a little hurt that his friend was stronger than him, questioned. Why would they think that? I beat his sister, not him. And you beat Neji, from what I heard. Still depressed, Naruto uttered the words. Because no one would believe that the village idiot could beat a paper bag, let alone a monster. Like Gaara. Why did you say monster? Like that? He tried to kill both of us and was about to kill Sakura. He is a monster, said the Uchiha. A suddenly depressed Naruto stated. No, he's not a monster. He was alone in this world, abandoned and abused. He's like me. What's got you down, son? Minato's new voice said as he entered the room and saw Sasuke already dressed for his funeral. You're signed out, let's go get ready, he said. Minato turned to face Sasuke, who was preparing to go, and said, Sasuke, you're welcome to come with us since you're already dressed. Besides, I still have to look at that seal I was told about. Naruto simply nodded and approached his father. I might as well, if anyone can get this damn thing off, it's you, remarked Sasuke. Minato grabbed both lads by the shoulder and said, Then come over here, we can take the fast way. The three of them vanished in a blaze of yellow light. Namake's mansion the following day. Naruto, I think it's time I made you my apprentice. I've talked it over with Jiraiya and we have worked out a dual apprenticeship for you, said Minato. Naruto questioned. So I would be both your apprentices? Yep, because Jiraiya has an obligation to handle his spy network. He can't train you full-time, so you will train with both of us. Minato replied with joy. Starry-eyed Naruto asked, Does that mean I get to learn all your cool moves and stuff? Yep. And we're going to start work on one of my jutsu today, replied Minato. Cool. Is it the one where you can teleport? No, that will most likely be the last one I teach you. Your body needs to be fully developed for that jutsu, otherwise it can have some nasty side effects, said Minato. Naruto questioned, So what am I going to learn? This is what Minato stated as he began to spin chakra in his hand. As it spun faster and faster, it produced a fist-sized ball of bluish-white spinning chakra that was creating a soft grinding/whistling sound. That's so cool, said Naruto. How do you do that? There's no hand signs or anything. It's pure chakra control and manipulation. You do everything yourself, said Minato. Aw crap! My chakra control is terrible. I'm screwed, said Naruto. You'll do fine, promised Minato. There's a 3-step training process that will iron out any problems, but I think I'll have you do the training a bit differently, Naruto questioned. Why? And how is it different? Normally the training is learning the spiral, then getting down and combining them in your palm, explained Minato. Naruto questioned. Then what am I going to do? You're going to learn it, by making one in each hand, that way you can always make one, even if you're holding a kunai or a sword, said Minato. Naruto said. Cool. But I don't use a sword? That's what we're going to work on next, though it won't be for a while. It took me 3 years to create this jutsu. It took a couple of months for Jiraiya to learn it, and I still don't think Kakashi has it down, Minato continued. A dejected Naruto said, Man, if Kakashi-sensei can't get it down, I probably can't either. Naruto, I know that most of our idiot villagers hate you for reasons you can't control, began Minato. But everyone I've talked to does, Kakashi, Iruka, Jiraiya. They are supposed to like me and believe in me, they are my teachers. Naruto replied dejectedly. What about Inoichi, Chuza, Gai, Shikaku? A bewildered Naruto questioned. What are you talking about? They are not my teachers? No, they're not your teachers, but they all have faith in you, Minato said with a face palm. What do you mean? They've never said that to me, replied Naruto. Chuza, Inoichi, and Shikaku all put your name on the Chunin promotion list. Guy said that your blazing youth was some of the brightest he's ever seen, and even Hayashi Hyuga said that you've got the ability to become great. And that was before any of them knew I was your father. Really? Inquired a really delighted Naruto. Every word Minato proudly uttered, Naruto said. Hey Dad, What is flaming youth anyway? I couldn't tell you. You should ask him? Come to think of it. His dad used to always talk about flaming youth as well, Minato said with a shiver. If you think Guy is eccentric, well, at least Guy wears underwear with his spandex. And Guy doesn't do squat thrusts in public. Wow. Yeah. 5 minutes later, the basement of Namikaze. The basement was divided into 4 sections. The first was an exquisite library with jutsu scrolls, historical books, and literature. The next was an office/study space where Minato worked on his seals, but anyone else could read or write. The third space, which could accommodate 5 or 6 people, was a tiny hot spring that vented into a tiny hole on the side of the home. The training area/armory was the final location. Here, we see the soon-to-be well-known blonde couple. Naruto was listening to Minato describe the Rasengan's initial step. So all I have to do is pop this balloon by spinning my chakra? Replied Naruto. Believe me, it's much more difficult than you anticipate, Minato stated. When Naruto twirled his chakra as vigorously as he could while holding a water balloon in each hand, the balloons distorted but did not shatter. It won't work if I just spin the chakra, would it? Replied Naruto. Minato said, Wow, got it in one, I'm very impressed. Naruto paused to think. If spinning it in a single way doesn't work, I'll give it a lot of instructions. Naruto followed through, and 3 seconds later, both balloons burst. Minato nearly yelled. W what? It took Jiraiya like a week to do that. Well, when you showed me your Rasengan, it looked like a bunch of little wires going in almost every direction, and you said just spinning my chakra wouldn't work, so I figured I'd try and spin it every direction, replied Naruto. Minato thought to himself. Wow, my son is a genius. Maybe it will work. What will work? Naruto inquired. Minato said, Nothing, just talking to myself. You remind me of that weasel guy that used to help me sometimes? Replied Naruto. Weasel guy? Minato inquired. Recalling one of his favorite childhood memories, Naruto said, Yeah, he was an ANBU. He had a weasel mask and really cool eyes. He talked to himself too. An interested Minato questioned. Cool eyes? What do you mean? They were red with black things like Sasuke has, but he had 3 things in each eye, said Naruto. Minato said to himself. Itachi? Naruto asked. Itachi? You mean like Sasuke's brother? A beaming Minato said. I'm not sure. Oh well, on to the next part of the Rasengan. He took 2 rubber balls out of the same scroll from which he had taken the water balloons. Naruto pointed to the scroll Minato was carrying and said, Hey Dad! How do you do that? It's cool. Minato responded. What? Seal and unseal things? It's called Fuinjutsu. What else can it do? A boisterous Naruto inquired. It can do anything you want, as long as you're smart enough to figure out which symbols and kanji to use, said a happy Minato. Can you teach me? I want to know how to do that stuff, asked Naruto. A very pleased Minato said, Of course I can, I was going to anyway. It's a very good skill to have after all. We can get to it after the Kenjutsu training. His son was the ideal match for Kushina and him. But that's going to take forever. Isn't there any way to speed up the training? Replied Naruto. Do you know the Shadow Clone Jutsu? 2 days later, Naruto was about to finish the Rasengan by merging the first 2 steps, but something was wrong. Naruto yelled. Come on! Why can't I get the last step? As he lost control of the Rasengan in his left hand once more. Naruto, try making a Rasengan in just your left hand, said a curious Minato, whose kid took the first step on his first attempt, and, after only 1 day of practice, was able to blow up both rubber balls. Naruto really was a genius at learning new things and applying them right away, it was true. What caused him to finish worst in his classes? It seems to me that he ought to have blown everyone away. Maybe even the teachers didn't support him. Naruto began to shape the Rasengan in his hand, saying, Okay, Dad, I'll try. It was nearly complete when it began to distort, and then it spread out. What am I doing wrong? I'm doing it precisely like the one in my right hand. Not sure? You could try spinning it the other way? Said a bewildered Minato in jest. To the surprise of both Minato and Naruto, Naruto tried it as soon as Minato stated it, and it was successful. Unbelievable! This whole time, just spinning it the wrong way? Minato gasped. An already agitated Naruto questioned. Does this mean I can move on to Kenjutsu? Minato said. Yeah, but let's have lunch first. I haven't seen Itachi in a long time. As he ascended the stairs. After 10 minutes, Ichiraku's ramen stand, Naruto rushed into the stand and exclaimed, Hey old man! I'll have the usual. I was wondering when you would get here. It was lonely without our best customer, Itachi said without even turning around. It's busy work to train with me, but I'm sure you remember that, Minato said at this point. And Minato! It's true! You have returned! Itachi exclaimed as she bounded around and materialized in front of the two blondes. With a tinge of malice, Minato continued. I had to. Someone had to take care of Naruto. I'm glad to see you back, and don't worry, this one's on the house, replied the elderly gentleman. A perplexed Naruto questioned. How do you know old man Ichiraku? This stand opened when I was 2. Minato grinned and remarked. I was Hokage, remember? I knew all my ninja, especially the ones from my genin team. Naruto inquired. Old man was a ninja? Not just a ninja, he was the best swordsman at the village. He could even go toe-to-toe with one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, said Minato. As he offered them their first bowls, Itachi remarked. Who's to say I'm not that good anymore? I'd bet I could put you whippersnappers in your place. Minato remarked. Perfect. You can begin tomorrow. What will I be beginning tomorrow? Asked the bewildered ramen cook. As Minato fell asleep, he thought about his cherished wife. Naruto wants to learn some kenjutsu, and since you're the best I know that's still alive, it's unfortunate that your kid is unable to wield Kushina's sword, but I accept and understand Minato. I would be delighted to teach him my trade, said a distraught Itachi. Yes, I heard about that. It was destroyed in a storage fire in the Hokage's safe. Such a shame, that was a masterpiece, said a sorrowful Minato. Naruto whispered. What sword? Mom had a sword? So that only his father and his new sensei could hear. Yes, it was a masterpiece of weaponized seals. Your father made it himself with the help of Tenin, said Itachi. Naruto questioned. Seals? Like Fuinjutsu? Correct. Her sword was very unique, replied Minato. I can show you later when we go pick up your gift later. After 25 minutes, Shinobi's Best Weapons store. Behind the weapons counter, the big man said. Welcome to Minato. Hello, Tenin, how have you been? I have a couple of projects for you, said Minato. the big weapons manufacturer said. I've been great. What was this project you had for me? 3 projects actually. I need another set of my kunai, and Naruto could use a set of his own, said Minato. Well, I can make yours no problem, but what does Naruto want? It's obvious he wants his own custom kunai, replied Tenten's dad. And what's the last one? You said 3? Naruto said. I get my own custom kunai? Awesome! The weapons manufacturer responded. You're going to need them for that jutsu, of course you do. Yes, said Minato. I'm not giving you my kunai when I teach you it. And it would be cool if my son's kunai could be just as famous as mine. Then it's settled. I'll make a couple of prototypes for you to choose from by the end of the week. Now what about that 3rd project? Replied Tenin. With a mixture of pride and regret, Minato said, We're going to remake Kushina's sword, and I want it styled after Naruto's Hiraishin kunai. The weapons maker said with a sparkle in his eye. Yes, I will do that one free of charge. It's not every day you can claim a masterpiece. Come back at the end of the week, I should be done with my prototypes, he said. After 3 hours, Namake's mansion. When there was a knock on the door at around 4 in the afternoon, Minato and Naruto only looked at one another, wondering in silence who it may be. While Naruto was training his dual Rasengan and Minato was working on some paperwork to formally claim Naruto as his son, they were sitting in the study and simply enjoying each other's company. To find out who was hammering on the door, Minato got up and went upstairs. As he walked up and answered the door, he thought, I swear to God if it's another summons to a council meeting. He was a little taken aback by what he discovered, Ino Yamanaka. A startled Yamanaka turned around and started to leave, saying, Oh, Lord Hokage! I must have the wrong address. I'll be on my way. With a cunning grin, the Hokage said, Looking for Naruto? Why, yes, sir. I went to his apartment this morning, but it was empty. The landlord gave me this address, replied a still frightened Ino. Relax, Ino, it's okay, and you don't have to call me sir. I'm just like every other human being, said Minato with a calm expression. Now go on inside. I have to go see a bowl cut about a fire. Naruto is downstairs, first door on the right. Then, in a burst of yellow, he departed, leaving the door ajar. This was where the 4th lived, wasn't it? Ino hesitated. He did, however, welcome her inside. She entered the house cautiously and closed the door after entering. She looked around the room. It was a well-furnished living room with a spiral staircase on the wall to her left. She went to the basement because she recalled the Hokage telling her that Naruto was downstairs. She went to the room where Naruto should have been, but it was vacant. When she heard Naruto, she was scanning the remainder of the basement. From the room at the far end of the basement, the words, AWW damn it! I forgot a towel, were heard. Assuming that Naruto was simply exercising, Ino went inside the room to discover him sitting in a hot spring, totally nude. She slammed the door shut and bounded out of the room. Who was that? The child Yamanaka exclaimed. I know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. A very composed Naruto answered. Yeah, we can discuss why you're here later, but first, could you get me a towel? I left mine outside the door. Ino took the towel, opened the door, and held it out. She heard Naruto grab the towel from Ino, exit the pool, and move for the door. And he took my clothes. He is so getting pranks for this. Naruto growled as he left after a minute or so, with a towel wrapped around his waist. Who took your clothes? Naruto stepped over to the stairs and said, Maida the Hokage did. You can sit in the study if you want. I need to get some clothes, otherwise this is going to get even more awkward than it already is," he said. Ino's thoughts were racing as she gazed at Naruto's perfectly chiseled physique. She simply nodded and entered the room that Naruto had indicated. She was absolutely perplexed. "Has he always looked like that?" she said to herself. "He's got an 8-pack. I didn't even know that was possible. He's so hot. How come I never saw it sooner? Was it because of that stooped jumpsuit he wears? And what did I see in the hot spring?" Ino jumped when she heard Naruto say, "Well, me naked for one." She noticed Naruto wearing a tight ninja mesh shirt and blue shinobi leggings in the doorway. With great courtesy, Naruto asked, "Now, what did you need?" "Well, no one has seen you for a while," replied Ino. "I was just checking on you is all," a bewildered Naruto questioned. "What's up with you? You never used to even talk to me, let alone care about me." As she began to make less sense, Ino's eyes began to water. "Well, after I watched your match against Neji, and you beat Gaara, and then your eyes." Naruto, who detested seeing people in tears, knew she was going to start crying. Ino hid her face in Naruto's shoulder and began to cry as he approached and gave the young Yamanaka a hug. Naruto questioned, "What's wrong, Ino? Why are you sad?" "You. Nice, always so nice and kind. You always help your friends, but from what my dad said, it was like looking death in the face. Your eyes. Oh my God! What happened to your wonderful eyes? What could have possibly done that?" Ino was crying uncontrollably, and every couple of breaths she would say, "You. Nice, always so nice and kind. You always help your friends, but from..." Should I tell her? Naruto thought. "Ino, please stop crying, it's not your fault, none of it is. I'm not sure if she can handle it." "Yes, it is. You're such a great guy, but all I've ever done was make fun of you. I'm just as much to blame as anyone." Ino wept. With the fox trapped inside him, Naruto reassured her. "No, you're not. The worst thing you've ever done to me was make fun of me." He then told her about his life, including all of the beatings, maimings, insults, overcharges, and even assassination attempts. Ino was appalled when he was finished. Her face was pale and her makeup was nearly gone due to the tears. The fact that Naruto had remained composed throughout his conversation, however, was what most alarmed her. It seemed as though he was discussing the weather because he was either emotionally dead or so accustomed to it that it didn't disturb him. A frightened Ino said, How are you able to go on?" She would have given up long ago if she had experienced any of what happened to Naruto. "I already told you, I care far more about others than I do about myself. As long as my friends are happy, then in happy, nothing else matters. That's why I will become Hokage. I will protect my precious people," said Naruto. Ino was taken aback. He meant it. Without any support, he engaged in combat with the tailed beast and fought until they both fell, demonstrating his willingness to do whatever was took to save his friends. And he didn't believe it was all that extraordinary. Everyone assumed Sasuke was the one who battled off a demon to protect his buddies and the village. "And Naruto? Why do you like Sakura?" Ino said shyly. With a little smile, Naruto said, "But now, I don't like her anymore. If you had asked me a month ago, I would have spewed a bunch of shit about Go. She was perfect." Ino said, "W what? But you're crazy over her? Ino, let's see you like this guy. But all this guy does is ignore you, beat you up, reject you, and call you worthless. Would you still like that guy? She said quietly. No, I would want a guy more like you. A bewildered Naruto questioned. What? Why a guy like me? Why not a guy like Sasuke? I used to. But then I got to know you better. You're the perfect 10 on the boyfriend scale. You're nice, kind, caring, you defend your friends, you're strong. You're the guy I want to be with, Naruto, remarked an extremely quiet Ino. A bewildered Naruto asked. What? What are you talking about? I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Everyone hates me. Why would you want a guy like me? Because you're the greatest guy I know. I just want to be with you. You've put yourself last your whole life. I want to help. I want to help you heal. Ino pleaded. Why? What makes me so great? I'm not the last Uchiha. I'm not some genius. I was the dead last dash, and yet you're the one who sprinted head-on at everything that has ever even threatened to hurt the ones you care about. You're amazing, shouted Ino. Well, if I'm so great, then why do dash? He began, but Ino Yamanaka's plump lips interrupted him before he could finish. Any more questions? She asked, grabbing the back of his head and pulling away from him. Naruto shook his head no, and they resumed kissing. Well, this was unexpected. You two should get a room, and preferably not one of mine. A very amused Yondaime Hokage greeted the two young blondes as they rushed up. Dad! What the hell? Naruto screamed. If you haven't noticed, my boy, you're in MY study, and if you're going to suck face with your girlfriend in my home, you should at least introduce us? Minato grinned. In 3, 2, 1. Ino nearly screamed. Did you just call the Yondaime? Dad. An embarrassed Naruto responded. Yeah, Ino, this is my father, Minato. Dad, this is Ino Yamanaka. Pleased to fully meet you, Ino, and yes, I am Naruto's father, but it would be nice if you keep that quiet until we announce it? Minato continued to smile. Oh, and you're welcome to come with us for dinner. We're going out for ramen. The Namake's mansion the following day. Minato, Naruto, and Sasuke were the three individuals in the Namake's house's basement. They were all screaming and in excruciating pain. At last, his curse mark was being lifted. Minato was drawing out the final portion of the seal when he said, Hold on one more minute, Sasuke. We're almost done. A tiny white snake emerged from Sasuke's shoulder and attempted to slither away as the final portion of seal was neutralized. Naruto screamed, Rasengan, as he crushed the tiny snake beneath the whirling chakra ball. The snake made a hissing noise, but by the time Naruto ceased using the jutsu, the snake had vanished and was nowhere to be seen. Get Sasuke up to a guest room. I'm going to clean all this up, said Minato. Naruto grabbed up Sasuke and tossed him over his shoulder, saying, Got it. Will he be okay? He asked. Minato said, Should be, he's just exhausted right now. Naruto simply nodded and went upstairs. Itachi, who was generally stoic, said, Hello, little brother, Sasuke yelled in a fit of wrath. You! I'll kill you! Only to discover that he was restrained and had a seal on his forehead that suppressed chakras. The Yondaime's new voice said, Well, that's about what I expected. Good thing we took precautions, Itachi? Sasuke, terrified, said, What's going on? You set me up. Foolish little brother, said Itachi. I'm going to have a lot of explaining to do. He'll handle that, he will take it better coming from the top, stated Minato. You have your assignment. If you go now, you'll probably make it back in time. Sasuke was throwing curse words like a monkey, while Itachi simply bowed and walked out of the room. You understand. Sasuke stopped talking when Minato said, Sasuke, I don't know how to be gentle about this, so I'm just going to say it. Sasuke wanted to know what could possibly lead the Hokage to side with the man who killed 99% of the Uchiha clan. You were lied to. I was lied to. How could I be lied to? He killed my whole clan, yelled Sasuke. First, he killed all the ninjas in the clan. Someone else killed the rest. You lie. He did it. He made me watch as he did it, Sasuke yelled. No, I'm not, but there is someone who lied to you. Home Yamanaka. When she told him everything, the boy in her life finally gave her more than just a cold shoulder, and Ino was sleeping comfortably. However, she couldn't deny that something wasn't quite right. When Ino eventually opened her eyes, she saw an older adolescent saying, I have a few questions to ask you, miss. Please don't scream. I don't want to have you silence you. The voice was forceful and steady, saying, Wake up. Ino was on the verge of yelling, but something about the man calmed her down. His request that she keep quiet wasn't a demand or even a threat, rather, it was a plea. The taller kid sat on the ground with his back against the wall and said, Thank you for not screaming. I don't wish to hurt you, but I have a mission and I must complete it. What mission? Inquired the bewildered yet composed blonde. How do you know Naruto's real name? Naruto doesn't have a brother. Who are you? The teenager asked, beginning to get frightened. I must protect my little brother at all costs, and I must know what your intentions are with Naruto Namikaze. I cannot tell you how I know his name, or my real name, but I can tell you that he is indeed my little brother, just not in blood. You may call me my old A&BU name, Weasel, replied Weasel. Out of anxiety, Ino inquired, What do you want with Naruto? Weasel said, The question is, what do you want with Naruto? Ino questioned, What do you mean? Why the sudden interest in him? I believed you to be a fangirl of the Uchiha. Ino trailed off in contemplation. I like him. I might even love him. Why? Weasel inquired. In disdain, Ino questioned, What do you mean why? I need a reason to like a boy? Weasel said, Normal, no. But Naruto is a special case. With increasing rage, Ino questioned, And why is he a special case? Because people look down on him? Because almost everyone in this village hates him? You like him because he's a bad boy. Then? Do you know that you're his fangirl? Weasel inquired. No. I have had enough of being a fangirl. He needs somebody to watch out for him, which is why I like him. Ino cried out. You feel sorry for him? Do you like him because of that? Weasel inquired. No. For Naruto's sake, I like him. He is gentle, considerate, and prioritizes others over himself. He's also strong. With hearts in her eyes, Ino said. You like him because of him, then? It wouldn't be because Sasuke turns you down, would it? Weasel inquired, assuming that was a sensitive area for the young Yamanaka, which is why he was taken aback by the girl's response. No, in fact I should probably thank him for rejecting me. If he hadn't, I probably would have followed him instead of finding Naruto, said Ino. So you like him a lot, don't you? Is it not merely a passing fad among fangirls? Weasel inquired. Yes, I do like him. After all, he was my first kiss. I don't know if anyone else in the world is like him, and he's so wonderful. I'm just pleased I discovered him. He's a hero in every way, Ino murmured dreamily. A hero? What makes him a hero? The demon who nearly destroyed Konoha is this one. Weasel feigned animosity at Naruto. He's not a demon. Every day, he is the hero who keeps this village safe. The devils are humans just like you. Was this how everyone perceived the boy she had grown to like? Ino was furious. Weasel said. And my name is Itachi. It's good to see you're not just using him, or liking him out of pity. It will be much easier to fulfill my mission now that I know this, he said, and then he poofed out of existence. Itachi? Where have I previously heard that name? Returning with Minato and Sasuke. Are you acquainted with Danzo? Minato inquired. A little bewildered, Sasuke said. Yeah, he used to come to visit me after Itachi murdered my clan. The deranged son of A. He was the one who gave Itachi the order to murder every ninja in your clan as well as both of Sandame's advisors. Minato stated gravely. You tell lies. He told me himself that he did it to see how good he was. Minato freed Sasuke's arms, gave him the file, and then he departed after shouting at an irate Sasuke. I'm going to give you the mission report and untie you, read it, and come see me. I will be in the kitchen. Hyuga substance. Wake up, please. Like the last girl, Hinata woke up slowly, but unlike Ino, she was able to see in the dark thanks to her Kekei Genkai. However, it was a teenager she had never seen before. Please don't yell, I mean you no harm. I have a few questions for you and I will leave, he said in a calm and caring voice. Hinata wasn't sure why, but she felt at ease as he sat down and leaned against the wall, saying, Thank you for not yelling, it will make this go much more smoothly, asked the shy girl. Why is Naruto appealing to you? Asked the teenager. What? Asked the astonished Hyuga. I wanted to know why you like Naruto, said the good-natured teenager. He never gives up, which is why I like him. He's resolute, and he disproves everyone, Hinata said. What makes such qualities appealing to you? Asked the teenager. The blushing Hinata remarked. Because it shows me that I can be like him as well, I can be strong. So you think he's a good friend? Itachi inquired. What? She was taken aback. He sounded like a wonderful friend based on what you just said. Someone from whom you can get strength, the teenager said. No! That's not all I adore about him. I adore him, the Hyuga asserted. Do you? How does thinking about him make you feel? When you gaze upon him? Asked the good-natured teenager. According to Hinata, I feel hopeful. What am I hoping for? Asked the teenager. Hopeful that he would see me, that he would come help me, stated Hinata. Aid you? How might he assist you? Asked the teenager. The reason is that he did it himself. He likes me, I know that. He must. And why is that? The Hyuga asserted. Apart from friendship, has Naruto ever expressed any other feelings for you? Asked the teenager. And no. But he will. I adore him. He must return my love, said Hinata. Why does he have to return your love? Asked the teenager. The reason is that he must. To win his love, I will stop at nothing. She was becoming more and more audacious. Even if it means losing his happiness? Asked the teenager. What? Why wouldn't I make him happy? I adore him, accused Hinata. If your father arranged for you to get married, say. Are you glad, Sasuke Uchiha? Asked the teenager. And no, the Hyuga explained. Why not? asked the teenager. The reason is that I dislike him, Hinata said. The teenager questioned. And what if Naruto doesn't like you? He does. He does, I'm sure, Hinata yelled. I can assure you, while he may like you as a friend, that is as far as it goes, the teenager replied. I'll change after that, the Hyuga asserted. I know everything about him. I'll just make myself more appealing to him. You know everything about him, but how? Asked the teenager, his voice increasing angrier. I've witnessed every stage of his life and have always been there, Hinata asserted. Well, do you follow him around? A voice full of bewilderment and rage queried the teenager. Hinata's statement. No, I follow him around, and I will until he loves me, bordered on crazy. Hinata, you need support. It will never happen now. Until you get help and break yourself of these stalking fangirl ways of yours, I will never interact with you unless we are on a mission. The teenager, who was surrounded by smoke, said, claiming to be Naruto. Is that clear? Naruto! How could you say that? I cherish you! Hinata shouted out. You are two things I don't need in my life, a stalker and a fangirl. Naruto then poofed out of existence, leaving Hinata in tears. Namake's home, living area. The Uchiha entered and sat down opposite Minato as she finished writing up a new training schedule for Naruto at around 1 in the morning. They were going to try shadow clone training, but with a twist. The kitchen door opened just as Minato finished the schedule for the week following Naruto's return from his mission, and Minato, anticipating Sasuke, prepared for whatever hellstorm was about to arrive. I hope the mission is over, Minato inquired. Itachi's response. Yes, but with rather good results, Minato grinned and said. Want to tell me more? I believe the Yamanaka's feelings are genuine. She even threatened when I revealed I knew his true name. She can be very protective, Itachi replied with a grin. Minato said. That's great to hear. Naruto doesn't need anyone to be deceiving or taking advantage of him right now. What about the Hyuga? Well, I assumed that was covered by someone else. Someone was already questioning her when I arrived, said a bewildered Itachi. You are the only person I sent. Act quickly. Get Naruto now. Minato gave the order, and Itachi simply nodded before heading out to get Naruto. Sasuke entered about 20 seconds later, and he had an unexpected expression on his face. Was he happy? Sasuke approached and took a seat in front of Minato. Is everything real? Even though he was still grinning, Sasuke asked in a somewhat solemn tone. Yes, based on what I've been told and what I can see, Minato replied with a cunning expression. If it's okay with you, may I ask why you appear happy? Despite the fact that I have suffered and been misled. A hero is my brother. Before his smile turned to a frown, Sasuke said, in the report. He put an end to an uprising that would have sparked a civil war. 10 bodies were never found, according to the report. Does that imply that others managed to escape? Minato said. You would have to ask your brother. Almost as if on cue, Itachi entered the room with a piece of paper, which he then handed to Minato. The X-soon-to-be Hokage vanished in a yellow flash after saying, Itachi, watch my home please, I have to go deal with my dimwit of a son. Sasuke and Itachi sat on opposite sides of the table, staring at one another, until Itachi broke the quiet. Sasuke, I apologize. Itachi hung his head and said, I'm sorry for everything you've gone through and everything I've put you through, but please understand that it needed to be done. On the outside, Sasuke was smirking, but on the inside, he was saying, Itachi, I have a few questions for you. If you answer all of them, I might forgive you. He had already forgiven his brother, and he might even thank him for it, but he was going to make Itachi perspire first. Who helped you? I'm curious. Itachi, a little taken aback, said, I will tell you when Minato gets back. He needs to know that one as well. Would his brother pardon him? All okay. Why are you so familiar with Naruto and the Yondaime? Sasuke inquired. Our mother and Naruto's mother were great friends. Minato occasionally watched me and was present on your birth date. As for Naruto, the Sandaime put Kakashi and I in charge of keeping an eye on him to make sure nothing was wrong. Cringing at an old recollection of saving Naruto from a crowd on his third birthday, Itachi added, Bad happened to him. What does something awful signify to you? Was he a prankster all his life? Asked Sasuke, grinning. Itachi sighed and fought back tears, saying, No, I can't tell you exactly what caused Naruto his hellish life, but I can tell you how bad it was. Sasuke pointed to the file on the table and said, I was part of a 4-man team, whose sole mission was to act as guards for Naruto. The only surviving members are me and Kakashi. Every guard was at least an A-rank ninja. I prevented 152 assassination attempts, so we had to be. What? There were 152 attacks against him. Sasuke was shocked that someone could be so despised. What could he have done wrong? No, I only served on the squad for a year and a half, but I stopped 152 attempts. I estimate that by the time I was reassigned, there had been about 2,500 attempts over his 8 years of life. Itachi, who was somewhat unhappy, said, It came out to about 1 a day. Sasuke was shocked to learn that his competition and best friend Naruto had a harsher upbringing than he did. How? How could he be so content and relaxed? Sasuke felt ill and believed Naruto was the one who couldn't relate to his suffering, but it was actually the other way around. Sasuke would never be aware of how terrible Naruto's situation was. I have to make it up to him. I've always treated him so bad. Apology accepted, said Naruto, who was wearing a bright orange jumpsuit, as he said. But I need to know how to get rid of stalkers and fangirls. Namake's mansion, 7 a.m. the following day. Naruto, Itachi and Minato had just got done discussing what they found out last night. Itachi informed Naruto that Ino had pretty much proven that she was there for him and for the right reasons. Naruto was mad at his father and Itachi for meddling in his personal life, but after he found out about Hinata last night, he thanked them for being in his side. Speaking of Hinata, she was slowly coming to grips with driving Naruto away. She convinced herself that as long as she stopped following him around and gave it time, he would give her another chance. Sasuke was still asleep. He was mentally exhausted after everything that happened the day before. First the curse mark was removed, then he learned the truth behind his brother and the massacre, and to top it all off, he found out his best friend / rival / surrogate brother had had an absolutely terrible life, and was still pushing through. We find Minato, Itachi, Jiraiya and Naruto all sitting around dining room table, eating breakfast and describing their new plans. The brat and I are going to search for Tsuhaime, and Naruto will practice element manipulation in the meantime? That sounds good to me, said Jiraiya. I'll get my brother access to the secret Uchiha vaults, and teach him the ropes of some of the hard stuff. Then I'm going to meet up with Kisame, and once again defend Konoha from the shadows. I will meet once or twice a month with either Jiraiya-san or Hokage-san to relay any information I gather, said Itachi. I'll get everything ready for when Jiraiya and Naruto return with Tsunade. In the meantime, I'll help train Sasuke and Kakashi, so that when we get Tsunade back, everything will flow a little bit better. Minato said. So I find this Tsunade, come back and I get announced as your son? And I learn how to manipulate elements? Awesome! Eager to continue training, Naruto remarked. I already like this plan. Your task begins now that everything has been resolved, Naruto. You and Jiraiya-sensei prepared to travel. Minato gave the command. Itachi, wake up Sasuke and get moving. I'll write up the documents so it looks like I entered the vault. After 30 minutes, the Uchiha library, Sasuke and Itachi were standing in front of a rather ordinary bookshelf at the back of the Uchiha library. Itachi had told him that something was going to destroy your life, or breathe new life into you. Sasuke didn't know what that meant, but he was willing to listen to his brother. Itachi activated his Sharingan and told him to do the same, and then a book from the shelf vanished. Itachi then slid his hand into the slot where the book used to be and flared his chakra, which caused the bookcases for corners to glow a light blue. After the glow subsided, Itachi walked through the bookcase and gestured for Sasuke to follow him. Main gate. Jiraiya and Naruto were heading toward the entrance when they both heard the dreadful scream. Naruto Baka, if only by title, the voice belonged to Sakura Haruno, Naruto's teammate. Where is Sasuke-kun? Since he rescued me from that terrible creature, Gaara, I haven't seen him. Naruto was furious. To start, I defeated Gaara, and he isn't a monster. He is just like me, and I won't allow you to disparage someone you don't know. Gaara is too strong for you, Baka. He's a monster, too. He attempted to kill me by crushing me, Sakura screamed. Naruto turned and left his teammate behind, saying, I should have let him. If you don't believe me, ask Ino. At least she isn't an annoying fangirl who can't tell her ass from a kunai. Come back here immediately, Baka! And let me know Sasuke-kun's location, Sakura screamed, he said. Go fuck yourself, Haruno. With a cold tone and a nice, little, blast of killing intent, little, enough to make Guy stop wearing spandex. He had been thinking seriously about his so-called friends for the past week and discovered that there were many more of them than he had assumed. But Sakura Haruno was the one person he was certain was not his friend. You insulted me, and I will tell my mother about it. She is a council member, the pink-haired humiliation screamed to Kunoichi. They left, leaving a very bad time of the monthy. Sakura furious as she made her way to the Hokage tower. Go for it, and while you're at it, go tell the Hokage. I'm sure he would love to hear how his apprentice was held up from a mission because you can tell when to shut your mouth, they said. You're not qualified to be the Yandame's errand boy. Two can play this game, Baka, Sakura stated aloud to herself. Uchiha's hidden vault. Itachi gestured for Sasuke to follow him as the final two Uchiha stood in a dim hallway behind the bookcase. After a minute or so of walking, they reached a small door without a handle, and Itachi said, Only those that fight for others will be truly strong. The door flashed and opened, revealing a 10 by 10 room with shelves upon shelves of scrolls and various weapons on each wall, as well as a tablet at the far end. Our great-grandfather constructed this room, which has the best fire jutsu in the world in addition to wind, water, earth, and lighting jutsu. That wall contains all of the elemental jutsu, as well as taijutsu, genjutsu, and regular jutsu. The best weapons available for the Uchiha fighting style are on the wall behind us, Itachi said. How about that tablet? What does it do? That tablet contains the secrets of the Sharingan. It tells you how to train it, increase it to the Manjikyu, and gain more kamas. A bewildered Sasuke inquired. Itachi said, "Go read what you can." Sasuke went to the tablet and started reading, his eyes widening with each passing minute until he finished. Is that the sole method for unlocking it? Must I murder my closest friend? I am unable to accomplish that, Sasuke yelled. That's why I'm here, Tsukuyami. I'm going to make you. This is a special genjutsu. It bends the victim to my will. You are going to go kill Naruto and unlock your power, Itachi said as he used his genjutsu on Sasuke. Hokage's tower. As he sat at his desk, laughing uncontrollably, Minato realized that his son was a true genius in every way. He had suggested that he create shadow clones to complete the paperwork, but Minato no longer had that problem. After striking his head against every wall in his office and his house, he gave his son a big hug and the money for an S-class mission, saying that Naruto had just increased the village's efficiency by about 100%. He was lying down on the couch, laughing, and he sighed as he heard a loud knock on the door. A pink-haired girl entered and took a place in front of the desk. The yondaime had never met this girl before. "How may I help you, miss?" "If you have the time, Sakura Haruno, Lord Hokage, I would like to speak with you regarding Naruto Uzumaki," the young pinkette inquired. "What has he done this time, I wonder?" the Hokage inquired. "I saw him and some tall white-haired guy walking towards the gates, and I asked if he knew where Sasuke was, so I could repay him for saving me from Gaara." Sakura grinned, indicating that even the new Hokage was aware of Naruto's tendency to cause trouble. Minato was about to reprimand her, but he decided to let her continue because he was going to correct every mistake in his son's life, and this was as good as any way to begin. Then the Baka claimed that he beat Gaara, and that the psychopath wasn't a monster. He ordered me to go fuck myself, and left after I told him he was lying and asked him to tell me where my Sasuke-kun was. When I informed him that I would have him punished by the council my mom is on, he instructed me to come see you. He was so bold as to say he was your apprentice. Miss Haruno, everything my apprentice stated was true. He did beat Gaara, and as of 3 days ago, he is not only my apprentice but also my adopted child. He is my son, and I will not tolerate any abuse or threats directed at him. Minato was furious because he believed the girl, who was supposed to be his son's teammate, treated him badly. Why would you choose to adopt Naruto, a loser? He lacks Sasuke-kun's level of ninja skills. Furthermore, Sasuke would be a far superior apprentice to the Baka. Sasuke-kun is deserving of being your pupil. Sakura was enraged since she didn't even know the Hokage who was shafting her Sasuke-kun. It was all he could do not to leap across the table and beat the living daylights out of the little bitch in front of him. Naruto is superior to Sasuke in every aspect of being a ninja. Even your sensei, Kakashi, concurs that he deserves everything that he has received. I've reviewed your file, and it appears that either Naruto, Kakashi, or Sasuke have saved you whenever you've been in trouble. You're almost worthless as a ninja in practically every manner, and you have the gall to claim that my kid is the Baka? You are kicked off Team 7 and sent back to the academy because I did nothing to stop the Kyuubi from destroying the village so that fangirls like you may join me. You have no control over this, and you are fortunate that your assault and threats on a comrade's life have not resulted in your ban from the shinobi community. Now leave my office immediately before I ruin your career. I'm a council member's daughter, so you can't do that, Sakura screamed, Then, Councilwoman Haruno has been deprived of her position as of right now. I can't have someone helping me manage MY Village when they can't even manage a family. Get her out of my life, ANBU. Before it was finished, 2 ANBU fell from the ceiling and escorted Sakura out of the room, through the window. Namikaze's mansion. After walking all the way to Naruto's house from the Uchiha district, Sasuke was being controlled by his brother, who was standing beside him. When they discovered Naruto sleeping in his bed, Sasuke lost control of his body and stabbed him in the throat, causing Naruto to open his eyes and turn to face his assailant. Why, Sasuke? Sasuke had murdered Naruto, and the battle was finished.